is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
It is 5 o'clock here on your Wednesday. Good morning to you. I'm Lauren Casey.
Lauren, good morning. I'm Rafael Sanchez. Here are the headlines on this August the 12th. A historic decision. Joe Biden chooses California Senator Kamala Harris to be his running mate this morning. A closer look at this political pick.
The roar of Indy cars will be heard once again on the Speedway as practice for the Indy 500 starts today. But this year won't be like any others. Our Alyssa Donovan is joining us live trackside with how this pandemic is changing the race.
And getting tough, the city of Indianapolis vows to crack down on businesses that don't comply with the mask mandate and social distancing guidelines. Details on the cost of not following the rules.
But first here at 5, we want to get a check of our Storm Team 6 forecast and welcome in Rafael Sanchez, who's joining us from down in Johnson County. Hey, Rafael.
Lauren, good morning to you. Just stepped outside before we came on the air. It feels great outdoors, Todd Clausen. Much different than the past couple of days.
Yeah, you know, that humidity went down during the afternoon and evening hours yesterday, Rafael, so you're exactly right. Not only has the humidity come down, those temperatures in the 60s, so it's a great morning once the sun comes up, maybe to get out there for a walk through the neighborhood or just to do something outdoors. Won't be the brightest sunrise for us as there's a little bit of way of cloud cover, but still it will be dry for everybody here this morning. 70 in Bedford, 68 in Martinsville as we continue our northward trek through central Indiana. It's a little cooler to the north. Tipton down to 63 and 62 is the current temperature in Peru. Visibility unlimited here this morning as you look from downtown off to the north. Here are the clouds that are streaming through the state, but all the rain showers are right now at least down to our south near Paducah, Kentucky. And some of these showers may try to sneak into southern locations later on this afternoon. But overall, while it's not the brightest start, we'll thin the clouds out a bit as the day goes on and eventually turn it partly sunny this afternoon. Despite the cloud cover that'll be around today, it should remain dry, except that small shower chance to the south, and temperatures very seasonable once again, climbing into the low to mid 80s. Lauren?
Todd, thank you. Here's a look right now at traffic as you're heading out on the roads this Wednesday. This is I-465, a view here near Emerson Avenue to our southeast. Good morning to you in the Beech Grove area. Traffic is moving along up to speed down there on the interstate in both directions. NDOT reporting that they just wrapped up a little bit of maintenance work in this area, so that is good news. All lanes are open in all directions. We'll continue to keep you updated on any other issues that might slow down your commute this morning. But we do begin this morning with Joe Biden's historic decision for vice president. The presumptive Democratic presidential nominee has tapped California Senator Kamala Harris to be his running mate.
So Harris is the first African-American vice presidential nominee and the highest ranking Asian American in U.S. history. ABC's Ines Laquatera has the latest on this political pair.
From rivals to running mates, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris set to hold their first event together in Delaware today, just hours after Biden called the California senator over video chat and asked her to be his vice president.
Kamala Harris!
The former vice president previously saying he was looking for his own Joe Biden and that trust would be key.
One of the things I learned is that no president in the 21st century can handle the job all by themselves. It's just too much that lands on your plate.
Harris becoming the first Black and Asian American woman on a major party's ticket. Analysts say Harris's experience campaigning, winning multiple statewide races, also differentiated her from the other VP contenders. But they also say Harris's pro-police track record as a prosecutor could be a liability. And it wasn't so long ago that Harris was Biden's fierce opponent, blasting Biden at the first primary debate for opposing busing policies in the 1970s.
It's a mischaracterization of my position across the board. I did not praise racist. That is not true.
Do you agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America then?
No.
Do you agree?
I did not oppose busing in America.
President Trump Tuesday pouncing, even though records show before he was president, he and daughter Ivanka actually contributed to Harris's campaigns in California.
She was very, very nasty to one of the reasons that surprised me. She was very disrespectful to Joe Biden.
And Harris is now set to use those debate skills when she comes face to face with Vice President Pence at the vice presidential debate in 8 weeks. Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News, Washington.
As you continue to cover Democracy 2020, Vice President Mike Pence, he welcomed Harris to the race at an event in Arizona after learning the news. While Mr. Pence congratulated her for the nomination, he was quick to criticize her positions on several issues. He also worked very quickly to cast her as being part of what he called the radical left.
I mean, we all know, look, Joe Biden and the Democratic Party have been overtaken by the radical left. So given their promises of higher taxes, open borders, socialized medicine, and abortion on demand, it's no surprise that he chose Senator Harris to be his running mate.
Harris has not responded to Mr. Pence's remarks. The two are set to square off for a debate in October in Utah.
It is 5:05. Silent no more. The famed oval on the west side of Indianapolis reopens to the roar of engines. Today, practice begins at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and our own Alyssa Donovan is joining us live out there this morning with all the details. Hey, Alyssa.
Hey, good morning. And while things are going to be very different this year at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, I talked to one business owner nearby who says she feels that all the decisions that have been made is actually for the better. Just down the street from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on Main Street is Charlie Brown's. It's open for business right now with safety measures in place. And while they're typically busy race weekend and the weeks leading up to the 500, owner Elizabeth Glover, or Lizzie B, says they're always doing good business. And with coronavirus concerns, she sees the decisions Penske made as the right ones, as it helps keep residents safe from big crowds coming into Speedway. Glover says the decision to eliminate fans completely from the 500 this year comes as a bit of a relief to her.
I think he has protected Speedway from some problems. He has protected our town, and we should thank him, not complain about him.
In fact, Glover is doing so well that she's working on opening a second location. Of course, not all those businesses along Main Street share her feelings, but she is positive about the situation. And the good news is, if you drive past the Motor Speedway today, you're going to be able to hear that familiar roar of the engines, even though fans will not be able to go inside. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
All right, Alyssa, thank you so much. And let's take a look at the rest of the schedule for practice. It continues at 11 a.m. again Thursday and Friday. Qualifying for the field of 33 starts Saturday at 11 a.m. as well. On Sunday, the top 9 come back to battle it out for the pole position. Our live trackside coverage starts today on the news at noon.
So, Lauren, here's a warning. If you don't follow the rules, it will cost you a lot of money. You see, effective immediately, the Marion County Public Health Department will issue fines totaling $1,000 for violating coronavirus public health orders. Several high-profile violations are behind this latest decision.
Some who broke these provisions have acknowledged the gravity of their mistakes, and they have paid fines. Others remain under the sway of irresponsible voices, spreading lies that this crisis is invented or imagined. Their selfishness is an insult to the families of the 3,000 Hoosiers who have lost their lives while infected with this virus.
No warnings this time, no $50 fines. We immediately go to a $1,000 fine. We need to get your attention.
Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett and Dr. Virginia Kane, the director of the Marion County Public Health Department, made that announcement. They say that businesses that do not comply with the health order can no longer claim a lack of awareness. We spoke to some business owners who are not too happy about this increased enforcement.
I don't understand why we have to police our customers on what they wear. I mean, if the mayor wants to enforce it, he should be enforcing it. His people should be enforcing it. That's the way I look at it. I don't work for him. So why am I going to be fined for something that somebody else is doing? I mean, I can't control the public.
I'm not here to, check mark, oh, this person's wearing a mask and this, they can do whatever they can do or eat here or to go. Yeah, we don't have the time or personnel to do that kind of thing. So it's impractical.
So here's the bottom line on this. The Marion County Public Health Department enforces the orders. It says it will not be sending inspectors out to monitor businesses or the public for compliance, but the health department will follow up on violations that are reported to them. When it comes to the spread of COVID-19 in Marion County, this chart shows some 7-day averages. This from July the 24th all the way through August the 6th. In that time, positive cases steadily increased from the 130 range to the 150 range. Lauren?
Well, Rafael, will any college football players take the field this fall? That's a question this morning. Now that 2 major conferences said no. Tuesday, the Big Ten announced it's postponing the entire fall sports season as well as championships and tournaments, and that includes the football title game that would have been played here at Lucas Oil Stadium in December. The conference is considering the possibility of competing in the spring. IU and Purdue student athletes in several sports are impacted. The Boilermakers head football coach says that he's disappointed.
When we were in all these discussions from a coaching standpoint and Big Ten, my personal opinion was to have multiple plans ready. And that was, okay, worst case scenario, let's get the spring plan ready. Okay, let's say we can't start on time. Let's be able to maybe back that thing up a little bit. In my opinion, when the SEC backed it up to September 26th, I thought we should have as well, because it would allow us more time, a few weeks, to gather more information and to maybe more testing kits and protocols that we can adjust from, see how it reacts when people get on campus. So I do think that hurt us, that we didn't do that.
On Tuesday, the Pac-12 took things a step further, voting to postpone all sports, including football and basketball, through the end of the year. Conference leaders say if conditions related to COVID-19 improve, they'll consider a return to competition after January 1st. All right, Todd, we want to get some good news after all of that. Do we have any good news in our forecast?
Hey, it's not a bad day for us today, Lauren. That is the good news. And overall, when I show you the 7-day planning forecast coming up in just a few minutes, it's a pretty good stretch of weather for us by mid-August standards. Outside right now, we are dealing with pretty quiet conditions, mostly cloudy skies. The humidity is lower this morning. It's pretty comfortable out there. And temperatures are going to be in the 60s as we get going. There's a little bit of cloud cover out there. And overall, I think today skies will be mostly cloudy, but the clouds will start to thin as the day goes on. That's the good news, as the showers and storms should stay off to our south and west throughout the day today. Our average high this time of year is 84 degrees, and we'll be just below that number in northern locations and right at that number here throughout the metro area. So overall, it's a pretty sunny and seasonable day. We'll talk more about that extended forecast I mentioned coming up in just a couple minutes.
Todd, thank you so much. This morning, an update to an Indianapolis murder case. After the break, why the prosecutor's office in Indianapolis says bond was granted in this situation.
And the federal government making $1 billion gamble on a coronavirus vaccine. We'll have the details on the deal coming up. Welcome back this morning. We're getting answers to some questions surrounding the Indianapolis murder case of Tyler Newby, bonded out of jail on Monday. He is accused of shooting and killing Dorian Morrell on May 31st in downtown Indianapolis after protests there turned chaotic. The Marion County Prosecutor's Office tells WRTV6 the bond was set in this case, quote, due to exceptional circumstances. The office says the reason was not related to COVID-19, and representative says while bond is uncommon in a murder case, it's not unprecedented.
Lauren, a family in Fort Wayne mourning the loss of a grandmother who died while trying to protect her loved ones during the storms that rolled through our state on Monday night. 73-year-old Isabel Atencio was inside her mobile home when winds flipped it upside down. Now, when crews arrived, they had to stop a gas leak and clear exposed power lines as they made their way inside of that home. After about 10 minutes, they found an unconscious Isabel and a child beneath the debris.
She loved those boys with all of her heart. She would protect them no matter what. I know God has his own plan, but it just seemed cruel that she had to pass away like that.
The firefighters say that Isabel's death was caused by blunt force injuries. Her grandson is expected to be okay.
Well, over 100 firefighters out in Colorado are battling a wildfire this morning. The Grizzly Creek fire has burned more than 1,800 acres since it started on Monday. Evacuations have been ordered for No Name and Lookout Mountain due to that fire. More than 20 miles of interstate have been closed as well, about 2 hours west of Breckenridge. Crews say that they're also worried about the risk of falling rocks, likely due to the burned vegetation no longer holding those rocks in place. Fire activity is expected to increase as the day warms and the humidity drops. Conditions throughout western Colorado remain very dry and the fire danger there is high. Back here at home, our humidity is a little bit lower this morning, Todd, a little bit more comfortable as folks are heading out on the roads this morning.
Yeah, you noticed that change yesterday afternoon and into the evening hours if you were out and about. And the reason why the humidity dropped is we flipped the winds. And while the winds aren't very strong here this morning, the winds are out of the north, and that is a drier wind direction for us. So that is good news in the forecast, not only for this morning, but going forward throughout the day. The humidity remains fairly low. Your weather headlines. Temperatures pretty seasonable here for the middle of August the next couple days. So that is the good news. We'll be hovering in the low to mid 80s. For the most part, we're dry until Friday. There's a small chance of a stray shower today in far southern locations, and then big changes in the forecast as we get into next week. More on that in just a second in your 7-day planning forecast. 62 in Peru this morning, 63 in Tipton and Lafayette. As you work your way southward, it's a little bit warmer, near 70 in Bloomington and at 70 degrees in Bedford. Those temperatures with the low humidity making for a pretty nice morning for us all across the area. The clouds are in place, so it won't be the brightest sunrise for us or the best sunrise. Obviously, even with the clouds, the skies will start to brighten. But the clouds are definitely more prevalent than the clear skies here this morning. And as we expand out, there's just a few isolated rain showers that are down to the south here near Paducah, Kentucky and southern Illinois. And a couple of these rain showers are going to try to sneak here into southern portions of central Indiana. So there could be a stray shower or two as we work our way into the afternoon hours, as you see here on TrueCast. But if you did see it, it's probably not going to amount to anything more than a sprinkle for you. And if you're north of Indianapolis, you should remain completely dry. So overall, it's a good day for us. It's just going to feature more in the way of clouds, at least for the first half of the day. And then as we work our way into the afternoon hours, we should start to brighten up just a little bit. So for the first day of practice out at IMS, we're in pretty good shape. Mostly cloudy skies. I think the drivers will like that, with temperatures that will be in the 70s and by 1 p.m. right around 80 degrees. And as we transition into the afternoon hours, clouds will thin just a little bit, and the skies will start to brighten with high temperatures that'll generally be up right around 83 degrees. This evening, temperatures will fall back down into the 70s, with again partly to mostly cloudy skies. Sunset at 8:45, and then going forward in this forecast, Fridays and Saturdays, some scattered storms around, and then there's that big change for next week. The cold front comes through on Sunday, and highs on Monday might struggle to get to 81 degrees. And then on Tuesday, we're starting in the 50s with temperatures in the afternoon, Lauren, only in the mid-70s.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out on the roads. This is I-65 in the downtown area here between the north and south splits. This is a view from Fletcher Avenue. You can see traffic is moving along up to speed both northbound and southbound. We did have a little bit of overnight construction set near the south split. That is complete at this hour. All lanes are back open. Great news if you're heading downtown right now for your Wednesday commute. Rafael?
So, Lauren, the White House is making a $1.5 billion gamble on a possible COVID-19 vaccine. That's how much the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is paying Moderna to produce and deliver 100 million doses of its potential vaccine. Right now, that vaccine is still in clinical trials. It's not even approved yet by the Food and Drug Administration, though it's already being manufactured. If it is approved, it can be rolled out quickly, which is the idea why of the big investment. The government's investment assures that the vaccine would be available at no cost to Americans. But healthcare providers could charge fees for administering that vaccine. Now, similar deals have been made with several other companies producing possible vaccines. The last blockbuster in the world is doing its best to stay in business as this pandemic continues. Coming up, the creative plan to bring more people into the store.
And a local school district working to find a way to stay safe as they return to the classroom. For one district, it means setting up a task force. Just ahead here at 5:30, we'll take a look at how their new system works. It is 5:22. We'll be right back. Welcome back. So, Rafael, Blockbuster video rental stores were a 90s staple, but all of the businesses have shut down except for one.
I have a question for you before I keep reading the prompter. Have you ever been inside a video rental store?
Yes.
Be honest.
Yes. Brooks and I used to go all the time to the one on 135.
Okay.
Big time high school date night.
The world's we'll check on that. The world's last Blockbuster, this is located in Bend, Oregon, is doing its best to stay afloat during the pandemic. The iconic store is teaming up with Airbnb to offer a unique overnight experience. It's been turned into a makeshift living room complete with a pull-out couch, a 90s era chunky big screen TV, a VCR, and 90s decor. It sounds like my living room here in Johnson County. The manager says this is a big thank you to the community for keeping the store in business.
What more fun way to do that than to come in and experience a night in Blockbuster, have a sleepover, have the old big, console television that, is huge, have the VCR, have the popcorn, have the whole experience, kind of like we did in the 90s.
I'm still living the 90s. The store is only charging $4 for a 3-night stay. For now, this is a temporary experience available only to Bend, Oregon residents, and COVID-19 safety protocols, of course, are in place. It is unclear if the experience will be open to others in the future. Our Todd Clausen always has his eyes on the future. So, Todd, can we have lunch outdoors today?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find a patio, and it should be pretty comfortable out there with skies that'll be mostly cloudy, so it won't be the brightest time on the patio, which may be good if you're sitting there for a little while having some lunch outside right now. We are dealing with skies that are mostly cloudy, and we'll keep the clouds around for a good chunk of the first half of the day with temperatures in the 60s, but we should be able to thin those clouds this afternoon, and as we do, temperatures very seasonable later on this afternoon, climbing up into the low to mid 80s. The time now is 5:28. You're watching Good Morning Indiana. Stay with us. We're back here in just a couple minutes.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 5:30, Indy cars will return to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as practice gets underway for the long-awaited Indy 500. But that experience will be a little different this year. Our Alyssa Donovan talked to a local business about what the big changes mean for them.
And more local school districts trying to find ways to safely return to the classroom. For one district, that means setting up a task force. The challenges already they're facing and how their new system works as the days go into the new school year. Welcome to Good Morning Indiana on this Wednesday, August the 12th. I'm Rafael Sanchez. Lauren Casey in Studio A, our meteorologist Todd Clausen, of course, like me, working from home as we continue, Lauren, to socially distance.
Yes, and so I was heading out on the roads today and noticed it is a little bit more comfortable out there, Todd. So what can people expect this morning?
Yeah, the humidity, I noticed it yesterday evening when I was out for a walk, Lauren, came way down from where it was earlier in the afternoon hours, and that's kind of carried over now into our morning. So you're exactly right. It's more comfortable, and temperature's not bad either here this morning outside right now. As you walk out the door, grab the sunglasses. You'll need those and some sunscreen later on this afternoon as well as we start to thin the clouds out. And here are those temperatures ranging from 62 in Peru to 69 in Indy, 70s the current temperature in Bedford, and there is a little bit of cloud cover out there this morning, so we're not going to have a very dramatic sunrise with just those high thin clouds and all the blue sky as we're more overcast than anything. And there's a few spotty showers there in southern Illinois, but as we work our way throughout the day, we should be able to thin those clouds out just a bit and get the temperatures eventually to seasonable levels all the way into the low to mid 80s. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a live look right now at traffic as you're heading out on the roads. Here's a look on the north side, I-465 here at Ditch Road, where traffic is moving along up to speed both eastbound and westbound. No major crashes or delays, just slow you down. Rafael?
So we are all ready for this. The Speedway will come alive in a matter of hours in preparation for the running of the 104th Indianapolis 500.
So we know the pandemic caused the delay of this iconic global racing event from the month of May until later this month. And our own Alyssa Donovan is joining us from live outside of the famed oval with what people can expect this year. Hey, Alyssa.
Hey, good morning. And the delay is one of many changes this year. And of course, the announcement of no fans in the stands for the Indy 500. I spoke to one business owner who is just nearby, and she says she's understanding of all these precautions, and actually she's happy about it. She's not as worried about her business and her bottom line. She's more concerned about the COVID-19 and the pandemic and how that would impact her community. Now, Elizabeth Glover owns Charlie Brown's, which has been in business in Speedway close to 50 years. Glover says race weekend and the weeks leading up to it are always exciting and great for her bottom line, with people lined up out the door. She says she's lucky, though. Her restaurant is popular year-round, so she's not that worried about losing business due to lack of fans coming in for the 500. She feels there will still be some activity driving customers into her place.
I do think that there will be things going on. I think people will be walking the streets. I know that I'll be busy, probably. But I'm not going to let myself get too busy. You know, I'm going to follow the rules.
Glover is taking COVID-19 concerns seriously with precautions for waitstaff and customers. She sees the choice to eliminate fans as one that was made to help keep Speedway safe. And this morning practice starts at 11 a.m. And while you can't go inside to watch anything, you can drive by and hear that familiar roar of the engines that is once again in the oval, maybe even on your way to Charlie Brown's. Reporting live, Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Alyssa, thank you so much. Charlie Brown's, a great place to eat. IMS, a great place to visit. Here's a look at the rest of the schedule. Practice continues at 11 again on Thursday and Friday. Qualifying for the field of 33 on Saturday starts at 11 as well. And then on Sunday, the top 9 come back to battle it out for the pole position. Our live trackside coverage starts today on the news at noon.
It is 5:35. More central Indiana school districts are trying to figure out how to deal with COVID-19 cases in their schools. At Delaware Community Schools, we know 228 students have been instructed to quarantine. Superintendent Reese Mann announced the Delta Middle and High School will move to e-learning as a result. That starts today and it runs through August 24th. Elementary schools will continue in-person classes. The district announced Friday that a football player at the high school tested positive for the virus, and that's the only confirmed case at this time.
Now let's take you to Boone County Zionsville Community Schools, holding their second day of in-person classes today. But not all students will be returning this week. Here are the details. 8th graders at Zionsville Middle School will not return until next week because they have been exposed to COVID-19 before the school year even started. And district leaders are not releasing details about the possible exposure.
We don't want a child to think that they've caused things for their team or for their cohort of 8th graders. No one child caused anything to happen. This is a global pandemic, and we should handle it as positively and as discreetly as we can.
The officials say their COVID task force helped make that decision. The group formed in March includes 8 district employees who work in central operations, 8 principals in the district, and community volunteers, including an immunologist and an epidemiologist. Some Zionsville parents say they take comfort knowing that the team is guiding this very difficult process.
Yeah, I think they're doing their best with the information they have. They've got extensive plans. Lots of brains were definitely put together to come up with some good plans.
The superintendent tells us the experts on the task force do not have kids in the district and do not know each other. Now that helps to ensure that the group remains objective. The group meets often and is in constant communication. RTV6 has compiled a list of all central Indiana school districts reporting COVID-19 cases. You can find that database on our website, theindychannel.com.
Rafael, Indiana is seeing an increase in daily reported deaths from the virus. The latest numbers from the State Department of Health confirming 25 new deaths. Those happened between July 22nd and yesterday. A total of 2,863 Hoosiers have died from the virus. 884 new cases were also reported, bringing the total number of cases to 75,862. More than 861,000 people have been tested for the virus so far.
More than 1,000 students are now being quarantined in the state of Georgia. This comes as that southern state reported a record number of daily deaths because of the virus. ABC's Megan Tevrizian brings us the latest from that state.
This morning, quarantine numbers in one Georgia school district on the rise. More than 1,000 students now forced to stay home after dozens tested positive during the first few days of class. Recent photos show students sitting and walking closely together, even taking part in a fire drill with no social distancing. The decision to reopen classrooms igniting debate across the country. One school district in New Jersey going all remote due to a lack of teachers. 375 teachers now saying they won't return because of COVID fears. The same anxiety felt in Texas.
Please go by science.
Middle school teacher Rebecca Asher quitting at a school board meeting.
I just didn't feel the district had adequate plans to keep both students and teachers safe.
But in this Detroit suburb, where the school district is leaning toward virtual learning, parents are demanding in-person classes.
It's just too hard. It's too hard for adults that understand it and do it daily.
A similar scene in Phoenix, Arizona.
Nobody wants to put anybody at risk here, but we also have to think about the whole health of the child.
In Florida, officials Tuesday reporting the deadliest day yet, with at least 277 virus-related fatalities. Neighboring Georgia also hitting a record. But nationwide, some encouraging news. New COVID infections and deaths are down week over week. And Monday marked the first day since June with no record set. One more encouraging sign, President Trump's testing czar saying turnaround time for COVID-19 tests have seen significant improvement, estimating 90% of all tests are now being completed within 3 days. Megan Tevrizian, ABC News, San Diego.
Well, Indiana's moratoriums on utility disconnections ends this Friday, which could leave thousands of Hoosiers without power. RTV6 continues working for you if you're struggling to make ends meet. The governor's executive order expires this week. The Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission also has its own moratorium that is set to end on Friday. The commission is expected to decide today whether it will expand it. It prohibits the disconnection of any utility service, including gas, water, sewer, and electric. Groups like the Citizens Action Coalition have filed a motion asking the commission to extend the moratorium indefinitely.
Looking at where COVID numbers are at, looking at the rising number of cases across the state in schools, and looking at continued high unemployment, as well as the expiration of the additional unemployment benefits that expired. The evidence shows that we're still in a health crisis. We're still in an economic crisis, and there's no moral justification for letting that shut-off moratorium expire. In fact, the evidence shows just the opposite.
Some utility companies, including Duke Energy and Citizens Energy, have said they will not voluntarily disconnect customers until after September 1st. So they are encouraging customers reach out to them and you can make payment arrangements. It is 5:41. Let's get a check of our forecast right now with Todd Clausen. Hey, TK.
Hey, good morning, Lauren. Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday in the middle of the week, and we're kicking your day off with pretty comfortable conditions across central Indiana. That is the good news for your Wednesday. We are sitting right now in the 60s in most locations. The humidity levels are pretty comfortable this morning as well. You notice temperatures will climb up into the 70s by the time we get to about the 10 o'clock hour, and then eventually we'll be close to 80 degrees by the noon hour, with high temperatures today eventually getting up to 84. So it's a decent day at the pool. It won't be the most sunny day for us, but the thing is the skies will clear a little bit more as we get into the afternoon hours. Just a real small chance of an isolated storm in southern locations. We'll talk about that, and also when better storm chances enter our forecast throughout the rest of this week, coming up in Maine weather in just a couple minutes.
Todd, thank you. Joe Biden has picked California Senator Kamala Harris to be his vice president. Coming up, we talk to a political expert about how this decision could impact Hoosier voters and the election.
And with many people still working from home, more companies considering a 4-day work week. Sign me up. Coming up, why the schedule increases productivity and could also prevent layoffs. And that story much more coming up right here on Good Morning Indiana.
Welcome back. After months of anticipation, Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden has selected California Senator Kamala Harris as his running mate. He made that announcement on Twitter, calling Harris, quote, a fearless fighter for the little guy. 55-year-old Harris is the first black woman to join a major ticket and the third woman to serve as a VP candidate for a major political party. The two are expected to make their first appearance together in Delaware later today. So how will Harris, as the Democratic vice presidential nominee, impact voters here in Indiana?
There are so many questions, but we took that specific question to Aaron Dusso. He's the chairman of the political science department at IUPUI.
I would be surprised if it impacted Indiana voters. Hoosiers, I would doubt, would be moved necessarily by picking Harris. I mean, California, it's not a Midwest state, or obviously when you have a former governor on the other ticket, that can raise some, eyebrows, and you can recognize the person.
At an event in Arizona yesterday, Vice President Mike Pence congratulated Harris. The two will face off in Salt Lake City on October the 7th. The Utah event is the only scheduled vice presidential debate on the schedule.
New information this morning on the case of Elijah McClain. His family is now suing the city of Aurora, Colorado for what they say was, quote, unconstitutional conduct in his death. McClain was a 23-year-old black man who died after an altercation with Aurora police. The civil rights lawsuit has 9 claims of relief, including excessive force and the denial of equal protection. The family's attorney says they filed the suit to demand justice and, quote, force the city of Aurora to change its long-standing pattern of brutal and racist policing, end quote. A spokesperson for the city said they couldn't comment on the lawsuit because it hadn't been served.
So more companies are trying a 4-day work week during the pandemic. Now, some are doing it to avoid layoffs. Others say it creates a better work-life balance for people who work at home. You see, Elephant Ventures is a software company that started testing employees working 4 10-hour days. It's a move to help employee morale and parents dealing with childcare as well as remote learning. Productivity has also gone up in other countries like Japan, where, for example, Microsoft tried a 4-day work week last year.
You're not wanting to lose your good workers, or you're wanting to, make sure that they're not looking elsewhere for those places that are hiring. You have to be thinking about, how do I retain my good staff? I don't want to lose them. And flexibility is going to be, I think, a key piece of retaining staff in the future.
ZipRecruiter says it has also seen an increase in job postings advertising the 4-day work week. Time now to check your forecast. And Todd, I'll take that 4-day work week if they're all sunny and dry.
It sounds good to me as well, Rafael. Give you a little extra time to get out and about and enjoy the decent weather we're going to have not only today, but in the coming days as well. A live look outside right now shows visibility not an issue here in downtown Indianapolis, but there's the potential a little bit of patchy fog this morning down to the south. So just be aware of that as you get going and kick off your Wednesday. The temperature at 69 degrees at the airport in Indy. Sunrise, look at that. It's getting close to 7 o'clock now. Not until 6:55 here this morning. Humidity is a little bit lower today than it has been, and that's courtesy of those light north winds coming at us out of the northeast at 3 miles per hour. So the wind speed not the issue, the direction though helping us out. 69 in Bloomington as well as Indy, 64 in Muncie, 62 is the current temperature in Peru. Connorsville at 69 degrees, and I mentioned the dew point. It's going to go up just a little bit throughout the course of the afternoon hours, but we're still in the mid 60s, so you'll notice some humidity this afternoon. But not oppressive by any means. And overall, it's a pretty typical summer day for us, with the exception as there's a little bit of cloud cover that's around here this morning. You can see that cloud cover on the satellite radar picture right now. And as we expand out, there are some showers down near Paducah, and that's where we find this stalled front. So it's not out of the question that some of these showers here will start to make their way towards central Indiana, and they may clip some southern locations as we work our way into the afternoon hours. But if you did see them, it's just going to be a very, very light, quick passing sprinkle, and that should be just about it. As we work our way into the evening hours, I do think the clouds will thin out, and so I think the second half of our day potentially going to be a little brighter here than the first half of our day across the area. So throughout the day today, temperatures will climb through the 70s this morning and into the low 80s later on this afternoon. And that's where we should be this time of year as far as high temperatures go. Our average high is 84, so we'll be very close to that. This evening's very comfortable as well as temperatures fall back down into the mid 70s. And then going forward in this forecast, tomorrow should be a really nice day. Definitely more in the way of sunshine tomorrow compared to today, with temperatures that'll be in the low to mid 80s, about 84 degrees to your high temperature tomorrow. The winds are still light, still fairly comfortable. But once we get to Friday, that's when storms return to the forecast. And it's probably a little unsettled for Friday and Saturday. No all-day rains, but there will definitely be some showers and storms around. But once we get to Sunday, you notice I have front arrives there on the graphic. It's a cold front that's going to come through, and that front will drop temperatures for next week. Low temperatures by the time we get to Tuesday morning in the 50s, with high temperatures Tuesday and even potentially Wednesday and Thursday of next week, Lauren, only in the mid 70s.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Let's take a look at traffic as you're heading out on the roads on this Wednesday morning. Here's a live look at I-74 and Post Road, where you can see traffic is pretty quiet down there on the interstate. We'll continue to keep a close eye on your roads throughout the morning and let you know if there are any issues coming up.
A woman surprised to find her new driver's license picture looked nothing like her. After the break, what she got in the mail as her official ID. So please, pull up a chair. Good Morning Indiana continues right after this.
Welcome back. So, Rafael, some people just absolutely hate their driver's license photos for various reasons.
So one woman in Tennessee really did after she getting her license, because it's something that she will never ever forget. You see, J. Dodd renewed her license online, and when it arrived, it looked like this. Her photo was an empty chair. The Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security says this is definitely a first. Now, according to a spokesperson, when Jade first got her license a few years ago, an employee accidentally took a picture of the empty chair during the transaction and saved it to her profile.
I wasn't mad. It was just, I don't know. It was fun. It was a funny situation. It kind of lightened the mood up a little bit since everything's been weird.
A good sense of humor there. Since she shared it on social media, her friends and even her boss have had a good laugh about it. Some are even making memes out of this. Dodd says it is definitely an experience that she will never, ever forget. Our Todd Clausen is in the driver's seat on this Wednesday. Todd, what is that forecast looking like?
You know, it's a pretty decent day for us. Probably not as sunny as some of you would like here this morning, but as the day goes on, we should start to work in more and more in the way of sunshine. But temperatures, can't complain about those here for the middle of August. We are in the 60s right now in all locations this morning. Highs eventually going up to about 84 to 85 degrees with partly sunny skies, and we should stay dry for the most part today. Just a small chance of an isolated storm in southern locations only later on this afternoon. We'll dive into the forecast in more detail for you coming up at the top of the hour. Stay with us. You're watching Good Morning Indiana.